And we're live. Hello, hello, folks. How's it going? So, we're still waiting for Elvis to join, but that shouldn't stop us from starting. How's everyone doing? I think we have, hang on. Oh, yeah, we've got a bunch of comments here. Oh, and I hear
Gotta turn off
myself.
the other
Hey,
tab.
we're live. Hello, Maxime. Where is Edge? Okay. Well, Kevin just released version 0.9.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Welcome to Bridge Builders. Hi from Germany. Yeah, tell us where you're watching from. Would be nice to know. It's great to have you guys here. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much, Kevin, for being here, and Elvis for shortly being here. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
Elvis. How's it going, man?
Elvis is in the
Just
building.
switching the sound.
Yes, please. We're hearing you.
Wait a second.
I got a little logo on there. He's playing a piano.
That's his keyboard. Yeah. This is
Just a
sound check.
second.
It's
It
a
was
sound
working a
check.
second ago.
We've got somebody from Ontario, Canada. We've got Marco. It must be a very interesting episode. We're about to find out.
Oh, this is a real international stream here.
Did you walk the dog? Yeah, that's an important question. Elvis, did you walk the dog?
Right
just
now.
a second. Trying to switch from.
I can hear the sweat in his voice.
Yeah. We can do a quick intro, right? Because there's always some first time watchers here. So welcome to Bridge Builders. We have me, Mark, and Brendan. We are your mod team. We're always here. And what we do with this show is we kind of want to look at different builders and different workflows. So we want to show off how can you build a certain layout or a certain website in one builder versus the other builder, and how would at the same time people using that builder do it, right? So today we're going to learn how Elvis does things in Builderius and how Kevin does things
Finally.
using bricks.
Hi guys. Sorry, I was like setting up.
You just
application didn't work. Wait, I need to turn on the camera too. Which also doesn't work.
Anyway.
There we go.
Oh, there he is. Hello. How's it going, man?
Hi guys. How are you? Yeah, I'm good.
Welcome.
Excited.
Doing a stream with Elvis is like getting my grandma in a WhatsApp call. Yeah. All right. And so it's less about battling. It's more about dialogue, about looking at different builders together, about exploring, and about also bringing the communities together. So it's great to have you guys here because you get to comment, you get to ask questions, you get to share some feedback, any ideas you have. So we'll be as mindful as we can about the chat while looking at what's going on the screen. Should we... Sorry?
How do we work with the chat? Do we like answer during or after? How does that work?
I think we'll just take moments when we'll take occasional breaks and just look at the chat and what's been going on, what people have been saying. We have a lot of watches right now, 57 people already, and the chat is buzzing. So us three are gonna try to star and remember what people are saying, and then we'll just take moments to discuss.
And if you want, you can let us just ask. When you're building, we can just ask you the question, so you don't have to be looking at off the
exactly. Yeah,
side.
you don't have to be looking at the chat. Like that's our job.
Yeah. Okay. So you ask when you find a question that is interesting or something, and I'll do my best to answer. Yeah.
Builderius. Elvis, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, or perhaps Mark and Brendan? Do you want to say something?
Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, I'm Brendan
Come on,
O'Connell.
Brendan.
I am a person that works in WordPress. I mean, it's not really that complicated. It's yeah, no, I'm excited to be here with you guys. Learned a lot from Kevin. I've been following Elvis. I think you're the mod of the Dynamic WP group too, which I found a lot of value from. And yeah, I'm just excited to see Builderius and get back into bricks.
Lit. Yep. I'm Mark Szymanski, co-host of Bridge Builders here, as you guys may know. mjs.bio is where you can find all my stuff. Very excited to have Kevin and Elvis here today. Ready to get started.
That's right. So, Elvis, do you want to say a little bit about yourself and about Builderius? And then, Kevin, a few words about you?
Sure. I'm a designer. I also teach design at the university for quite a while now. I've been in and out of WordPress. I started using it years ago, like 2013 or something. And then I stopped and did more like graphic design. And when I started working on AI research, we needed something to quickly have a UI for like training AI. And we used WordPress, and I was not the developer there, I was a designer. And so the developers just like made it into an app. And it was, to me, like revealing what WordPress can be. Because I was always thinking, okay, it's a blog, it's a website. But he made it like into an app for training AI. So for me, that was like something that got me started interested in the web again and in the WordPress in particular. So that was, I think, 2018, 19, something like that. And since then, yeah, I do like most of my work is UI and UX. I do applications, mobile applications, and some like internal apps as well. And I joined Builderius, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. When Vitaly and Volodymyr invited me to like give it a test, and the UI was not good, but I really liked the power that it had. Like it took a while. Like at first I had no idea how to use it, and then they showed me a little bit, and I was impressed. So I called them 2 weeks later with like a rough design and asked like, should we do something? So that was the beginning. And since then, we've been redoing the whole app. Yeah, it was great working with Vitaly and Volodymyr. They're really like open-minded and really competent developers. And so it sometimes feels like whatever I imagine can be done. So
and they are in the audience. Vitaly has been responding to people. So that's nice.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Vitaly is the front-end engineer at Builderius, and Volodymyr does our back-end. GraphQL, all the data stuff.
Cool. Kevin, couple words about you.
Much like Brendan, I also work in WordPress. We are currently working on our 4th vaporware product, which is coming along very nicely. I think 0.9 came out today. You all right, Mark? Okay.
Yeah, I'm holding it together.
Okay. All right. That's it. That's me.
Wonderful. What are we building today, guys? I think it was Elvis's idea, right?
Yeah. I suggested a couple of websites, and this was the one.
You're pretty much responsible for everything that's about to happen from here on in.
Yeah, you can blame Elvis.
Yeah, pretty much. Until he leaves the building. So we've got UI.dev. That's the website we're building. Well, not us. We're just watching. Like Mark, Brennan, and I will just sit here. But you guys are going to be suffering through this. And you agreed to build this wonderful card grid first. And then if by then any time is left, we could move on, for instance, to the header, which would be interesting, or to the light and dark mode, just some ideas. But we'll also take it from there, and we'll see what the audience says or what kind of ideas we come up with along the way. What's of course going to be important is to really look at not how do we cobble this together? How do we get this done quickly? But how do we do this right? How do we do this intelligently? And how do we get to great results? So it can take some time building. We can take some time building, and we should also take some time just looking at the tools and the workflows at the same time.
It's very interesting. The cards are actually broken on your screen, not on
Are they?
mine. Yeah. See how the guy doesn't fit in the shape? Yeah, those right there.
What?
On
Wait,
mine,
this one?
on mine, he fits in the shape.
These
Share
damn
your
Linux
screen.
users.
I have no idea. Hey, can you share your screen?
Yeah, I don't have that problem as well. It's like a nice oval shape. Nothing is broken.
Yeah.
Can we blame Linux here?
I don't
then?
know. How do you share a screen?
Interesting. Okay.
Should be a little thing at the bottom, I think, with the up arrow.
So
Wait,
who
where?
does the screen sharing now?
Right.
All
Yeah.
right.
Exactly. Kevin is sharing his screen. Where is it?
I got it.
Kevin
See
there.
the difference?
Whoops. Sorry.
You good?
Oh, look at that. Wait, but you have a different card on top. How
It
do we?
doesn't matter.
Ah.
They're all the same.
Oh yeah.
That's
Okay.
fun.
Interesting.
It's probably, maybe they,
Unload it randomly.
I don't know what's different on yours, but like even if I shrink it down, it doesn't break on mine. Yours is broken on yours.
Look
Damn
at that.
Linux, dog.
That's
Okay.
this is what I saw as the initial version.
And you're using Brave there?
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, this is Firefox, so could be that. I don't know. Interesting. Okay, so this could be an interesting one to build just for that reason. Okay. I don't think we should waste any more time. Let's bring Elvis in here, or let's bring Builderius in here.
Yeah, do you want to
And
share your
So I
screen, Elvis?
swear, like that.
Yep.
I'm sharing the screen without sharing your system sound. Yeah, that's fine.
That's
Okay, let me get
Do you
this
see
out of
my
the
screen?
scene. There. And wait a minute. Yeah. Hi.
Okay. Everybody sees my screen?
Yes.
Sure. Okay, that's good. So, let me just have my stuff open on the other screen. Okay.
I know, Maxime. Yeah. There's some room for improvement on this one.
Okay. So that's the page. You've seen it already. So what I'm going to do is I want to show different kinds of tools that are important for the workflow in Builderius, and I want to start with something that maybe is something that I guess is most mentioned about Builderius, which is Git-based workflow without Git, like our own implementation for having separate branches for the development branch and the production branch, and how that can be used. So in essence, when you save a revision, we call it revisions. We call it releases. So when you save a release, it contains something we call it like theme-like solution. It's an entire work done in Builderius is saved in a release, and it doesn't have to be published. So you can save a release within dev branch or publish it so that everybody sees it. So while you're in the dev branch, it just means that you are tracking your work and you can go back and stuff like that. But when you publish it, then it's about releasing to the public. It's also very cool to like migrate content. So that's how I'm going to start. For instance, you can have a starter, your own starter, like a mini framework. That's your custom thing that can have like special CSS and special components and stuff like that. So first of all, I'm going to just show you what I have. So I've brought in these like posts that we see on the site, so that I don't have to. So we have some content. I also brought in the media. I have ACF, very simple, just like some labels and stuff like that, which I may or may not use. But let's see. And that's it. And I have Builderius. Let's see, I skip something. Safe SVG, so I can use SVGs. That's it. And yeah, Java font for local fonts. So when you go to Builderius, this is your like greeting page where there's some links, some of which don't work because we don't have the docs ready yet. And you have two options. One is minimal settings, which is you're going to have 0 CSS. So this is, for instance, if you want to use ACSS with Builderius, you probably want to go with minimal.
Very good idea, by the way. It's a very good idea, by the way.
Yeah. So there's no overrides. It's just like, I mean, there is CSS, like component-based CSS, which is functional. For instance, a menu, right? So that's going to be there because otherwise it doesn't work, but nothing stylistic. So you can just like, the other one is standard. It uses our framework. Builderius uses framework instead of theme settings and stuff like that because we think it's more flexible. And so if you run standard settings, it's going to tell you what is going to happen. So essentially, it's going to like configure the framework, and it's going to create templates, which are like these most common used templates based on template hierarchy in WordPress, so that you can really quickly start. So that's what I'm going to do. And so what I have is templates, and these are the most common ones. Basically, like what you would get with a free theme on the WordPress repo, you kind of have here. There's way more in Pro coming. You can create more even here, but these are like the basic ones. So, for instance, and it does one more thing. It creates one page which is kept private. It's called Builderius Style Guide, and let me show you what it is. And so that's just a page with our elements in, right? The idea here is this is where you start your development. You change CSS variables, you change selectors, and it reflects here, and you can instantly see all the changes that you may have made, right? And so that makes kind of, that's probably a good start for like, for the beginning, right? You do your global stuff and then you move into specifics, but you don't have to do that. Okay, and so let me show how revision works. So we can go back to like a releases page. This is the one that gets created after you run that starter, right? So it's 1.0.0, and it tells you what is inside, and that's the first one, right? But you can also import releases. So let me just check. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, this one. Okay. And once it's imported, it doesn't yet do anything. You need to like extract all its content so that it applies to templates. So that's the next step. It warns you if you have some stuff made, it's going to override. It does its magic. And if we now go to that same page, it's going to have changed colors, which is basically what I did. So I've edited the CSS variables. Color, yeah. I just use the colors we see on the website to have like the dark theme, right? So this is revisions. Equally easy to export them. So going back to releases, you can export here and send it. And some of the ideas that we also have in the future is also distributed, right? So it can be installed on various websites. You can do this as a service as well. So I'll send somewhere, if you want, a link to this website, because there's something also interesting, I think, that everybody can see. Where can I paste it?
I just typed it off the screen and I'm pasting it in the chat right now.
Okay, thanks. Sure. Because yeah, this is what you should see when you or this is what you expect to see. But
Right now,
this is
I'm seeing a smiling woman.
yeah, because this is
Yeah, the live branch.
production branch that
Right.
everybody else sees, and this is the development branch that I see, right? So the point here is I am safe working on a live site. No one will see anything, even if I mess up. It's not going to affect the website. Okay, I now have like a lot of tabs open. Wait a second. Okay. So that's this one. We don't need that. Okay, so let's go back here. We also close this. Okay, so let's start working. That's like a short introduction into releases. I go to templates, and I'm going to be working on the blog index, which is your homepage if your settings on your blog are like just showing the post, right? So I'm gonna not do anything else. So I'm just gonna open in Builderius. And what we have here is like just a blank start. So let's see. I want to see this one.
Just gonna point out here right off the bat, it's really awesome that in the structure panel you have header and footer, and then even the main is just part of the structure panel. That's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the idea here was main is most often what you want to have between your header and footer.
Mm.
But not always. Like if you want to, depending where you put it aside, it can significantly change the semantics of it. So for instance, if you, let's say you have like a blog listing, right? You'll want your blogs within the main, but aside is going to go outside if that aside is like not related to each, like to appears elsewhere on the site, right?
What happens
So
if I try to put another main there? What happens?
absolutely nothing. You're just going to have two mains, and your HTML is not going to be very good.
Okay, but it's not stopping me from doing that.
Yeah, no, there is nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, Builderius will not handhold you. So you can always break everything. So yeah, maybe when you mention this, I can, maybe that's
Just
interesting.
sorry to interrupt again. Yes, this will be available for replay. You could just come back to this URL anytime after the stream ends, and it's still gonna be there. You can continue. Sorry.
Okay, okay. So another important thing to say: site header and site footer are components with properties. It's the only components you have in the current version. We already have the functionality for the custom ones, but we didn't want to give this in the free one. So important reason to mention this is that our entire architecture is based on components. So there is no template parts and stuff like this. You just have like templates or pages that take the entire view, and then you have components which are everything else. So if you want to edit your component, you can do it two ways. Look, you have to select it, of course, and then go edit component, or right-click and edit component. And it's going to open in another tab, but keep everything else visible so that it's within the context in which it will appear. It's not like it doesn't stretch or change or whatever. You're still, you see everything else. And of course, your DOM structure is now smaller because it's only components. But you see the other things. So for instance, maybe interesting thing here. What can be interesting here? Maybe let's make an attribute. Sorry, not attribute. Let's go to, let's create a property. And let's just say like header label. And let's do the default label or placeholder. Okay, so this is how you create, this is how you define the property. And then let's add something into here so that we can link it to this property, right? So we'll use span. Okay, it's here. Maybe just not a nice spot. Oh, not. Let's put it. Yeah, that's a good place. Okay, so instead of this content here, we just click a little plus and we choose the header label. And we save it. We can now close the component. And now I'm in back in my template, where if I now select header, I can change. I can say, I don't know, blog. It says blog. And on another template, let's save it and open another template, like posts, for instance. Here, I can say post, including dynamic data and stuff like that. We can also use conditions here within components, which basically we need to really think about the UX a little bit, but technically it provides variants because you can have a component and depending on conditions, serve different markup. Okay, that's not really what we're doing today, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to close the post. We don't need that anymore. And this can stay now. Okay, so this is components in Builderius. Yeah, we can nest them in each other. That doesn't really make a lot of sense in this case when we have a footer and header only, but you can do it. Okay. So what are we doing? Let's go back to the page. Okay,
I was just going to say, I want to see some card action.
Okay.
Bring the card.
So you want card action? Yeah, sure. So let's just inspect this for a second. I want to see what this is. So it's a section. Okay, it doesn't really have a container inside, but we can ignore that. And or maybe I can like make 3 of them. And then there's a grid here. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna my min selected. Holding shift means this remains open. And you can also hold shift and keep clicking here. It's going to remain open. So now, or maybe I want to duplicate this. And duplicate this. Okay, because there was like 3 containers there. I'm going to change the first one to header because that's, I think, what they had. And maybe this is a footer. Okay, it doesn't affect how they behave because it's class-based. Okay, so let me go back and
which, by the way, if anyone's curious, that is valid HTML. You're allowed to have headers and footers that are not your main header and main footer.
Yeah, you can have them. It's more like since HTML5, you can have headers within sections and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just adding headline here or heading here. And I'm gonna add that text. And it was, it's probably, no, it's not, it's H2 because we're not at the top of the page. It's not the hero or anything. And typography. And do we have, does this repeat? Maybe I'll just give it a class. And I'm gonna center it. Okay. Next, what do I want?
Here's a quick question for you. Do the elements create IDs somewhere? Is there like a hidden auto-generated ID?
No, there's a hidden auto-generated class which produces something we discussed in Kevin's video. It produces 0.020 specificity because I never use IDs for styling. And so, but you do want to be able to easily override global classes on the element level, right? So we decided to use like 2-class combo to increase the specificity. So your local element it's going to override the global one because it's going to have 2 classes by default. And you can, like, if you click here, so I unclicked, this root is what produces that double class. Yeah, it's unique for each element, has the same purpose like bricks, but it's not actually an ID. You can make an ID, and you can make it dynamically, like this. So after the %, go hashtag and then root, and then it's an ID. So you can have that as well. But this is what I wanted to have. Okay, what else? Okay, so we go with the paragraph, I think, next. And where's the... let me see what they do here. Oh, this is our headings. So, okay. But where is H2? I'm not going to follow this really closely. Okay, so H, and then it has separation like this. Okay, let's do it like they do it. Maybe I should take the text.
Looks like they skip H2.
Yeah, weird. I don't think the HTML is very nice here. Okay, and I guess I can change it to H3. And I'm gonna do another one. So duplicate, and that's gonna be paragraph. And let me okay, and since this is all centered, I'm going to actually do it on the top level. So okay, we have an image, I think, this one. Oh, yeah, this I'm just going to do this statically, like this. No, but these are SVGs, so I'm just gonna, it doesn't really matter. Okay.
That is pretty sick with the like that you're doing away with magic area so completely.
And what can we do? Sizing. I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, you can just eyeball it. You don't have to get it exact.
Yeah, let's maybe. I'm gonna do something like, I don't know, 200 px. And maybe we can show also custom attributes with. Where did I put 200? I think. So yeah, now that I'm kind of jumping across, just to clarify, each element has 2 tabs. One is content, the other one styles. In content, you do HTML. In styles, you work on CSS. So if you want to like add an attribute to the HTML, it's going to be in the content area. Okay. So that's our header. Okay, here we want to, let me just check. Okay, so we have a grid container, and then we have, let's say, articles. So I'm gonna hold shift again, div, and then in that div, I'm gonna press article, and in that article, I guess I'm gonna have a heading, I don't even remember, paragraph, and there's an image, I think. Yeah, this area is favorites. You can like remove this and bring a new one. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna add center text here as well. And so that's a container. This one is going to get a grid class. And I'm
So
going to duplicate.
just to announce here, I think it's important that we make this official. By the end of the week, there will be advanced thema for Builderius.
So this is 4. We need like 8, right?
Yep.
Oh no! No! What am I doing?
I think you're going to query loop this.
I'm going to loop this. Yeah. Sorry. Let's just delete it all and go back. And I completely forgot that I wouldn't. So okay, so what do we have? We have I'm forgetting. Okay, so just the grid. Okay, so within the container, I am going to add a collection. So this is the first dynamic data part. We have a looper or a repeater or query builder, which is called collection. And so I'm going to click on it, and it will add 2 elements in it. I'm inside the template, again, going to add an article. In the article, a heading, a paragraph, and an image. Okay, so we have so collection. I'm going to add a grid element to it. And I'm going to connect it to dynamic data. So when collection is selected and you are in the content area, in primary section, there is dynamic data. So in the free version, we can't build custom queries, or you can, but a little bit differently. So we have a GraphQL-based builder coming up, which is going to allow you all kinds of querying. In the free version, we rely on the query that is being run when a certain template in the WordPress hierarchy is loaded. And this is called the main query, which will give you post loop on the archive pages, including this blog index, which will give you single post in singular or single templates. So this is the query you don't have to provide any arguments for, because it's provided by the template hierarchy. So this means I can just easily like this fill this in. And so now I have posts, right? So let's first just fill it with dynamic data so that we kind of see what's going on. So these titles should have a post title. Paragraphs should have excerpt. And image should be like a featured image. I'm going to use medium.
So the 3 brackets, is that just to 1-up bricks or 2-up bricks?
Sorry, what?
The 3 brackets you have around them.
Yeah, we have 2 different. So these are called dynamic data tags, and we have 2 different ones. So one is square braces. Mm-hmm. This is global data that is not part of the loop, like the post title, for instance, but not post title within the loop. Like if I wanted here to outside of the loop to connect it to post title, then it would give me archive title, because we're on the archive page. It would give me,
square brackets. Okay, but I was kind of being facetious, but still, you have 3 brackets there. Is there some sort of, is that a choice you made as developers? Just say, hey, we're going to do 3 because 3 is nice, or is there a reason?
Yeah, there's a reason. There's two square brackets and 3 square brackets. 2 square brackets will escape the HTML, which is a
Right.
security thing, and 3 will not escape. So depending on what you want to achieve, which kind of HTML element or attribute or whatever you're working, you have an option to escape it out of the box by providing 3 or 2, and in this case 2 square brackets.
Nice.
We wanted to have a difference between the global and like locally scoped loop ones, so that it's clear. For instance, you may be using some global data within the loop to do some stuff. So this makes it clear where it comes from visually when you see it in the content area. So this is why. Okay, so we have these images. Okay, so now I want to get rid of everything that is not a course. I'm going to save and show you just so you kind of understand what am I doing. Since in free version you can't use custom post types, you can. I'm going to show you, but you kind of can't also. So I'm going to show you a little bit how I'm doing all this with just posts. So my posts are all just normal posts, and I have categories. So the things we want for the grid is courses, right? So I'm gonna, but it's a main query, which means it doesn't take arguments, kind of. So what we can do is use the template element, which is a web component which doesn't render any HTML on your front end, but provides additional kind of capabilities into the collection. And in this case, it's going to provide a way to kind of add, let's say, conditions, right? So how I'm going to do it is this. I'm going to add an attribute to the template element, and I'm going to write a special attribute called data if, which is kind of a name for just conditions. It has to, like, custom attributes have to have data dash something. So this is how it's called. And I'm going to say include. And then I'm going to do two, how do you call that in English? The quotes and courses, and then comma. And then I'm going to add category names.
I think you spelled category wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna come up when I, category names. I think that's correct. And I'm gonna rerun the collection, and it seems I did includes. Okay, that's it. So now we just have the cards we want, right? So that's one way of using the free builder to alter main query, kind of like with pre-get posts function in this case. Not really, technically not the same, but in effect it's the same. Another way we can do that is to use REST API, because if you go to collection and drop any REST API, how do you call that, endpoint, it can loop through it. It can be a remote website like WP Tavern. It can be a Google Sheet. It can be Airtable. It can be whatever you want. It can also be your own site. So you can make a custom post type, and in ACF, when you make them, just make it available in REST API, and then you can loop through it with this collection and use that. But I wanted to show this one because it's a little bit more friendly. Okay, so we have the posts now. I'm going to pull the image up. Heading here. Okay, this is here. Okay, so the images, I should probably also, what's the size? Oh, it's tiny. Okay, let's say 75 pixels. I'm going to do this with width. Smaller, maybe 45. That looks better. Okay. And okay. So
Shouldn't it be height 45 and width auto?
so auto is going to be implied, but I can add auto to height as well.
It's just cosmetics anyway.
Yeah.
Elvis, is there a reason you're doing width on an attribute instead of on a class?
Yes, it's good for performance because width will create a shape for the image even before the CSS loads. So what's the name thing in Google Speed? The shift thing.
Layout shift. Is that it?
Yeah. That helps with it. That's the reason. So what else did I want to do? I wanted to realign these things because in the article it's not supposed to be centered. But actually in this, it's not even, nothing should be centered. So I'm just going to remove this. Okay. And heading is too big of a heading, I think. Yeah, I need like H3. Okay. I will work on the grid after I do something. So what I did in the free version right now, we don't have ACF fields within the loop. We have them, simple ones outside of the loop, not in the loop. But I wanted to make this so that, like, I was imagining how can a client choose the color of their post, right? So I did it like with tags.
I'm going to take a quick moment here to discuss this. Thierry says, Elvis, do not pull the image up. Use order -1. PB101. I think in this case, it's actually, I think the image belongs at the beginning, doesn't it? Even semantically, like in the structure, doesn't it?
Usually semantically.
You mean, yeah, sure. I agree with
the actual.
But now we have two people.
Sorry,
Kevin?
Yeah, the icon in this case, usually you want the heading first, and then you have to determine if you want the icon to even be red or, part of the content or not. In this case, maybe so because it's those are logos, right? Brand logos. So those are a little important. You would want to keep them. But
but if you wouldn't, I would just add ARIA hidden to them, and then you can skip them. I agree, Kevin. This should be done with flexbox order. I'm going to do a lot of not good practices here because I'm kind of.
Good. You've got an attentive audience to call you out on it.
Yeah. So this is the moment I want to show. So you could do this with ACF if we worked with ACF in free version, but we don't. So I'm going to use tags. So I have tags which are which use the names of CSS variables that contain color values, right? Where am I? Okay, so let me show you. No, it's in the variables. Okay, so I'm going to search for what is it? Color, and sorry, not color. Okay, so these are the colors, and then in selectors I've made these classes. I think it's like again color. Yeah, these are the ones, right? And so I want to dynamically produce these classes based on tags attached to the posts, right? So I'm going to come here. I'm going to select the article, and I'm going to do this in attributes. So I'm going to say class, and then here I'm going to say tag and tag name. And for this, I need to rerun and not get what I want. Let me do this, and maybe I need to that's not nice. Oh, I didn't add it to these posts that I want. Yeah, it should be here. Okay. So React is green, query is, I'm just gonna take a while to add these tags. I completely added to the wrong posts. Oh my God. Okay, I'm just gonna improvise and do whatever. So let's say green. Okay, update. It's not gonna be proper colors, but let's say pink. Red.
So these tags you've already prepared beforehand, right?
Yeah. That's part of that starter that I made because
Right.
it already takes a while. So orange, I think I have. And yellow. And the last one, I don't know, beige again. Okay, so going back here. This is nice. I have pause here. That's odd. Okay, what if I remove this? Okay, it's back. So I used the wrong text class. Tag names. Yeah. Okay.
Sick.
Okay. So what do we need to do with this page? Has some rounded corners, padding around. Let's start with the simple stuff. So now selectors. So here you could of course add. This is the color of the text. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Need to
we could
unwhite it.
yeah. So for instance, I could now add classes to this, right, and do it like that, or I can make a kind of selector that we can do in Builderius to do that without having to add classes. So I'm gonna go to, I guess, let's go collection, and from collection I can go root space article and confirm.
So
And
Maxime is asking if Builderius is going to support SCF. He says it would be a game changer.
It supports ACF and it supports Metabox, just not in the loop right now.
Okay, but
no in the
SCF.
old one, we also had like the flexible field or whatever the name, all of that. So that's going to come back. It's just not yet.
Right.
Okay, so spacing. So to use variables here, you can do it in two ways. You can do it like click here, and it's going to open this. Or if you're more like a, did I now? Collection.
By the way, let's take like 5 minutes or so,
Mm-hmm.
and then take the first break and switch to Kevin, or look at the chat.
Okay, and the other way, if you're more keyboard focused, is dash, and it opens up. So I will look for padding. Do we have padding? Yeah, and not section. Okay, let's spacing. Maybe like MD. No, that's not big enough. LG. Okay. It's a new product. I don't know everything. So yeah, that's more like it. And in borders, we can have border radius added. Again, the same. Okay, and let's make this 4 columns. So is it on collection? Yeah. So we don't want to change it on the grid class because this is a global grid class. Who knows what we have there, right? So we keep the grid, but we redeclare the template columns value, right? So let's just check how it looks in the grid area, in the grid class. Okay, so if we look here, grid template columns, it's out of it, min, max, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to copy that. Go back to collection, stay on the root here, and say grid template columns. Paste this. And see what I can. Oh, I'm going to change this. So let's say, let's do something simple so I don't type here forever. So repeat. I'm going to say, what is it? It's going to be 4 times. And then min, max. And it's going to be 0, 1 fraction. Okay, so now we have 4. And I guess also gap. Okay, that I guess looks a bit like it, a bit more like it.
Yeah.
Is that enough for now?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good place to take a break and move on. Maybe really quick, maybe how would you do hover state?
Oh, you just type it like any other selector. So you can come here and see if it's on the root, then it's.
Okay.
Yeah. So we didn't want to, for instance, generate blocks. We kind of have this now, but it's too clicky. Like you need to click something and then you have to like something inside, and it's complicated. Like it's super complicated UX thing. We thought like just learn to type selectors. So it's quicker, I think, and it's more flexible because if it just like takes any selector, it's more easy for us. Now, Vitaly maybe doesn't agree, but it's more easy for us to develop. But it's also like same way you do any kind of selection, right? For pseudo, for like has, for where is, whatever. Like if you come here in selectors, for instance, let me just remove what's selected here. So it's separated into let me close all of them. Elements, so this is just like HTML element selectors. Classes, just single class selectors. Attributes, and then whatever is where whatever you want, right?
Wow.
So it allows you to select more things at once. It allows you to play with specificity. And there's a lot of people who will say, no, this is not, I don't want this, I want classes, and it's fine. You just use classes like you used to in Bricks, in Oxygen, in any other. Classes work exactly the same way. So you'll just add a class and style it.
So I was partly going through the chat. Well, I've read all of the chat, and it's basically just Joel's shit posting. No, it's actually it's Maxime shit posting, and then there's a couple of people really adding a lot of value here. We have Max, who is asking, this hover would be applied when the collection is selected. Is probably an oversight, right?
Sorry, what?
Max wrote, this hover would be applied when the collection is selected. It's probably an oversight.
Yeah, I was just like, I wasn't thinking what. I just showed like in general, how would you do hover? You can do like root and then space and then article and then hover, like you can, or you can just go to article and do it there because it's a collection, so it's repeated anyway. So you don't in dynamic, you don't necessarily need a class because it's repeating for you. But yeah, if I did it on collection, then that was not correct.
I read a couple of comments saying Builderius is very well thought out, and I'm going to echo that. Like, it really feels like you kind of took, I think like if we bring a new builder on the market, we need to look at what the best builders of today are doing and then iterate on that, and not Oxygen. So if and this is kind of what you're doing. Like you're there's a lot of thought put into this to take things to the next logical step. In this, there were several points here where I was like, hey, this builder is doing stuff that I thought it would be nice to have in Bricks as well. And so that's really cool. I like seeing that.
Thanks.
What are we thinking? Like Kevin, Brendan, Mark, what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far? Like before we move on.
I think it's a good way to look at it. It's familiar in the sense that it's, you know, if you've used Bricks a lot, then there's going to be a lot of similarities, and then there's some things like the nested selectors that are slightly different, that are, you know, maybe an improvement. So I like it.
If I can comment on the design part,
Good.
it's so our approach with design was to, and I guess also as a product and as a business, would be make it almost exactly the same in the features which we share, like with Bricks and Oxygen and stuff, but then add stuff they don't have. So the idea is, like I use this kind of argument when I talked about classes, which was like classes should work almost exactly the same like they do in Bricks, for instance. But then if you want more, you can get it. Of course, in the places where we agree, there are stuff that we don't agree, like the idea that, something that I can't show now because it's a pro feature, but that code generated through UI and code written is in the same place. Which, for instance, Maxime added to Bricks a way to know where you did custom code.
Yeah.
And we thought this is now shit posting about shit speaking about Maxime. I think that's like not fixing the core issue. This is like patching, right? There's a problem with Bricks, so now we need to add icons to tell us when we have a custom code element somewhere, so we can find it. We thought we can do better than that. We can have code predictably, any code, always like where you put it. So if you did element level styling, UI or code, it's going to be in the same place. If you want to do it, same thing about class or any kind of selector, right? So you don't need to add anything. If you click the class, your styles are there.
So we have a bit more feedback about pricing that I thought was quite interesting. Max said they should keep some features for Pro. Pro seems too cheap anyway, but accessible pricing might help. Then Dave chimed in, said, yes, true. The Pro is really cheap. Can't wait to see all the features that'll be included in Pro. And Toby also said, the pricing surprises the life inside of me. It's unbelievably cheap. The free version itself is too free, if you know what I mean. So you're offering massive value for really, really good price at this point. Is
not
what
for
I'm
long
hearing.
time. Not for long.
Not for long, yeah.
yeah. So at this moment, since we had like I almost call it like deprecated version, like the old version of Builderius exists as Pro, as free and free, right? And if you buy it now, you can't use Pro with the new one.
Right.
So this is basically investing into a project, right? So we don't want to raise the prices now. Doesn't make sense. But as we approach the Pro release, it's going to go up. We think, especially because our goal is like we want to make a super powerful free version so that you can really use it on smaller sites. And our idea with that is to expand the user base, to grow the kind of ecosystem. We think even if you can do it with the free, because you can do a lot of things. If you like, some things are not that obvious, but you can do it if you're more creative, even with the free. I think people will still want to buy it. Those that buy anyway. Like I think if someone doesn't want to buy, they can always like go to some GPL site and I don't know, So what's the point? So in a sense, like give enough with free, like ACF does. Like ACF is really powerful even as a free plugin, right?
Yeah.
That's kind
Max is asking, you have your initial framework with all those classes you showed. If someone wants to start from scratch, do we have to create all the classes individually in free, or can we import them in batch?
So there's an import feature made already, but not designed. Vitaly showed me like a screenshot, so it is there. It's going to be an import.
Mhm.
In Pro, you can just paste it. So you can take any CSS. It doesn't really have to be WordPress. And like, I don't know, it wouldn't make sense to do it with the Tailwind, of course. But with, like, if it's a smaller thing, you can just paste it, and it's gonna work the same way ours does, or almost the same. So you can do it like that. You can import it. I think it's the best is going to be when we integrate, right? Because then we can really think about it deeply with whoever is doing the add-on, and it's going to work better for sure. But right now you can maybe Maxime didn't see in the beginning. I mentioned there's a minimal version. I tested it with what would I test it? I think with the core framework. So everything works. It just doesn't know how to complete. So there's you need to integrate it. You have to really know the classes otherwise, right? And I think I believe the same way would be with ACSS. It will work, but not as nice as you want. So yeah, that's something we want to work on soon. Let's say. Part of the idea why we went this way is to make it easy for these frameworks to come in, right? To not have to. I listen often Kevin when he talks about Gutenberg and what a trouble it is to make a framework for that, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, let's just not, like, if they're using ACSS, they don't want our CSS, right? Just remove that. And Builderius, when you install it and when you run it on a certain template, it removes also the CSS from WordPress. Like block CSS is not there at all. This awful CSS from blocks that changes with every update and adds a lot of crazy specificities, and all, that's not going to load. In Pro, you can specify what can load. By default, it's going to unload everything, but you can then choose to load it. In free, it's just like nothing. It's blank slate, and I think that's very freeing because you don't you can any CSS works because there's nothing to override.
Well, should we switch to Kevin? I can see here Maxime is saying, can we roast Kevin, please? Ruben says, don't buy advanced themer, it's scam software. But he also says he hates ACSS, and he did mention that he wants to see Breakdance versus Edge. So which of the three can we do?
Hey, he didn't pay his $5 USD to make that to read that aloud. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, nothing Ruben
you-
says can be read without
you
without payment.
yeah, without Colombian peso payment. You owe us, Ruben. Come on now. All right, let's do this thing.
All
That
right.
was great, Elvis.
Thank you so much, Elvis.
Sweet. Kevin, you
All
want to
right.
share?
Yeah, what are we doing? Sharing screen? Let's see.
Yep.
Entire screen. Let's go with this one.
So I'm going to remove this. Hello, Mark.
Chat.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Are we seeing
All right.
things?
Ridiculous movie.
Are we seeing?
Yep.
Seeing what we need
Yep.
to see? Okay. How do I got to be able to monitor Maxime's comments while I'm doing this. How can I do that? There's no way to do that? Okay.
How many screens you got?
Okay. Well, I have nothing prepared. I'm gonna go this. We're gonna do a blank slate. Elvis threw me off. I thought he was gonna do the card stack, and I was gonna copy what he did. So, but we will tackle this. I think so. Last time I was on, I did a lot of things, and I did them very, very, very fast. And a lot of people said I didn't learn anything. It's too fast. Like, so we're just gonna focus on this card stack right here. I think we agreed ahead of time that we're not gonna do this nonsense with it, but we are going to we're going to build the, we'd be here for a while. We're going to build the card. There's a lot to think about with these cards. So we've got this shape. We've got this part of the review aspect of the card. You would ask the question like, are these stars supposed to be dynamic? Like, are we supposed to be able to handle, because obviously we're going to loop through these. So is there going to be a 4, a 5, a 4.5, or whatever? So there's some questions in there. Mainly I think what people maybe want to see is just how to achieve this effect without, doing like a screenshot of it. Because you want to build it correctly. And this is going to involve some masking, which I absolutely hate. But it's got to be done. I actually, when designers get very creative like this, and so, I just feel like throwing them like in the Chattahoochee River and like never working with them again, because it just takes a tremendous amount of time for not a lot of reason. But people want to know how to do this stuff, so I guess we're gonna do it. All right, so I've got a blank page, and we'll just go ahead and we'll get started. Let's edit with bricks. We are going to be using bricks. Sorry, I mean we could do this in Etch. It is actually physically possible to do it in Etch, but we're not ready to show that yet. End of March, you will be able to see Etch if you are on the waiting list. All right, we'll be able to flip back and forth here. So I'm not going to worry about fonts. We can do the colors, I guess, in a minute. But we're just going to go with a hero. We'll just call this main hero. This will be the main hero inner. Oh, select it. Okay, and then we will make this a grid. Now, what I'm actually doing lately, experimenting a lot with like just a CSS first workflow in Bricks. So obviously we can dive right into the UI and use the UI inputs and all of that. I think most people are aware, and I'm kind of doing this out of protest, but also because it's just better in general. When you use the UI inputs, there ends up being, especially as you see with these cards, there's going to be things that we have to do that the UI is just not capable of doing. And at that point, you have to move into writing some custom CSS. And then you end up in a place where you've got styles in custom CSS, you've got styles in the CSS inputs. You're not doing everything at the parent level. Therefore, instead of just having those two areas, that actually multiplies into however many areas based on the children that you're selecting and writing CSS for or using the inputs for. And then it expands even more once you start implementing things at different breakpoints. And suddenly you find yourself in a situation where you've got styling in 16 different places for one like component thing. And it's very, very annoying. It's not good. It's not good for maintainability. It's not like you come back 6 months later, you just got to hunt around for like, where is the styling actually coming from? A CSS first workflow allows you to write everything from the parent level. It keeps everything in one place. You can do the media queries there. So if you are getting better at CSS, like you can compartmentalize this stuff a lot better, and you can keep things more organized and more maintainable. Of course, it would be nice if the UI actually innovated to consolidate that for you. Okay, which Etch is going to do. That's exactly what we're working on right now. So like the problem of scattered styles and all of that is not going to exist in Etch. And these are the kind of things that really start to matter as you go like, higher and higher and develop more skills and try to get more professionalism into your website, so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm gonna do the main hero inner. We're going to go display of grid. We'll go grid template columns of grid. Like, let's go one. Let's switch that around. Let's go 3-1. Okay. So let's just go block, block. All right. And that's probably, we'll go 3-2 with that. Okay. So this is going to be where that card stack goes. This is going to be where our main stuff goes. We're going to go heading, text, text, button, essentially. All right, so we'll go heading, text, text, and button. All right, let's go ahead and put some content in. Stuck in tutorial heck. I mean, what can we not? We had to. It's not even a cuss word. We're okay. Whatever. All right, let's put this in. Good.
I thought the exact same thing. Like, what does that asterisk?
Yeah. Why are we? Yeah. Why are we censoring the non-cuss word? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and save there. Let's make this at H1. I think most people just they care most about the cards. Let's go to backgrounds and text, backgrounds. Let's change the website background to, how about like base ultra dark or something. Let's go to text, default text color. Let's go text light muted. And then let's go to typography and we'll go the heading color, switch to text light. All right, we pretty much have a dark theme going on here. Okay. Fantastic. All right, let's try to build one of these ridiculous cards. Obviously we want to loop it. I always recommend just building it statically first. Like once you start looping things, now the builders got more complex stuff to worry about. You've got more stuff to worry about, dynamic data, all that stuff. Just build a static version of the thing. See if you can get the static version working, and then you can move on to whatever else you want to move on to. This is going to be our stack. We're going to put our card in the stack. So let's go with another block. This is going to be, we'll call this I guess it's a review card. Is that what it's primarily what they're using it for. So let's go review card. Let's take a look at the structure. So we're going to have the quote at the bottom. I'm treating this thing as like, this was probably going to be like absolutely positioned. And it's just going to kind of float on top of everything else. So really all we need is a structure, whatever we need for this thing right here, and then the quote down below. So let's go ahead and go with a block. And then I don't think we need to put a wrapper around the quote. So let's go quote, and then we will go ipsum short. I don't really care what she said, so just put some filler text in there. Make that a block quote. And of course, user agent styling immediately makes your block quote as ugly as possible, so we'll have to undo that. Review card. All right, let's think about our structure here. I'm thinking we're gonna need when you're using masks like this, you're gonna need a couple extra wrappers to help out here. So let's call this first thing a cutout. Let's go with a block inside of it. That's gonna be our image wrapper. Let's go with an image inside of that. Okay, so let's go cutout, image wrapper, image, looks good. This will be the quote down here. Then we're gonna need and I'm actually not even gonna put in that other part of the card right now because this is just gonna add additional complication to what we're trying to focus on. So let's just leave it the way that it is. And let's go ahead and auto BIM this. So we have a review card with a cutout, an image wrapper, an image, and a quote. Let's apply the classes there. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is steal one of these images. How about this guy? He looks happy. Copy image address, bring this in. Okay, and we'll just paste it in there. Now we have a stolen image. Okay, let's get this quote. Let's undo some stuff here. Let's go, looks like it's got some padding. We're gonna zero that out. A border of none, font family of inherit.
Elvis,
Font
I might
size.
sorry about that real quick. I might have missed that, but in Builderius, what Kevin just did, like just grab the URL of an image and then put it in the image element. Is that something that is also possible in Builderius?
No, unless I'll try. I don't think so. Let me see.
It's something that immediately impressed me when I first started using bricks, that I can just put in a URL in there.
All right, so I'm just using some card. I don't have, like, I have the card framework enabled, but not auto styling on, but I can still just use the, any of the variables from the framework essentially. Let's go with, I don't even know what our primary color is. Okay, that'll work for now, I guess. All right, so we've got our rounded corners, we've got our backgrounds, we've got most of the things going on kind of that we need.
Yep.
I think we're ready to start masking. Okay. All right. So we're going to do probably, let's talk about keeping this at the parent level. So let's try to do everything from the review card itself. And this is another thing that we're thinking about in Etch that this really annoys me. That's why I'm trying to solve it. I'm trying to do all of my CSS from the parent level so that I can keep everything nice and organized and keep everything in one place. But I often have to go to these other elements to check something. It might be like any detail that's happening over here. And you can see that I lose my CSS. Like I can only, then I have to go back to get back to my CSS. And then God forbid, I did something else over here, like in one of these panels, because then when I go back, I have to get out of it and I have to go back into like where I wanted to be. So we're thinking about like persistent CSS from the parent level, some way to get that CSS you're actually working from to persist even across clicks in the interface. So you don't have to play this game of like always going back to where your styles live. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so let's go with, we're gonna do a lot of this on the image wrapper. So we can just stem off of these dynamic root selectors, and I'm gonna position this relative. We're just gonna kind of walk through this step by step. Try not to go too fast, try to keep everybody with us, try to figure it out as we go. What I need to do is make a mask. So I am going to go to, let's go to Figma. All right, so we're gonna create new, and we'll go design file.
Okay. Hide the etch stuff.
Can you guys see Figma? I'm sharing the screen, right?
We see it.
Yeah.
We see
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
We just don't see your face.
Okay. All right, so what we need to do is make just this shape right here in the background. So what I'm gonna do is we will grab, I've got this stupid EV Mux thing. Okay, let's move that out of the way. It's like right over the Figma.
You can
controls.
just click hide on it.
Oh, okay, good. Wait a minute. It just, okay. It took me out of Figma. Are we still good?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ellipse. All right, we're just gonna draw it. Let's go black. Okay, let's, something like that. Let's compare. Let's go, okay.
That's good.
Okay, it's close, right? It's close. Maybe a little fatter. Okay. All right, let's take that. Let's go export, and we will export the SVG. We'll call this cutout. Yeah, maybe? Okay, let's go cutout. Let's bring this in. One little trick that I've been doing lately, because you normally have to hop back to the media library and all that nonsense. So to avoid that magic area, you could just go to any element, go to the background property or whatever lets you upload an image, and just upload it from here. Grab the URL, and then you can close it, and then you're back. And you don't have to go all the way out. Okay, let's see. What we want to do, probably use a pseudo element. Let's go before, content, position. Do we want to go absolute with this? We might want to go absolute with this. Let's go width of 100%, height of 100%. Let's go background of red, z-index of -1, isolation of isolate. Let's go with, might be all we need to do. And we can just drop the mask in. So I really hate managing mask URLs and all that kind of stuff. So this is a great time to make a little locally scoped variable here. Let's drop that in. So we're gonna have our cutout, which is the URL function to our little mask that we made. And I think we're ready. So let's mask image this of cutout. Let's go mask size contain mask position bottom. We don't want it repeating. No repeat. Okay? All right. Now you can make this any color that you want, essentially. So we're going to call this cutout BG. And we're going to come up here to our locally scoped variables, cutout BG. We'll just go black for right now. Okay, but now we have a little locally scoped variable where we can just kind of tweak our little cutout color there. Okay, next thing that we want to do. We want to create another mask that is essentially going to cut the guy out. But it needs to have a safe zone. So if you think about this, like it needs to be the same shape. It needs to come through there like that, okay? But then it needs to have a safe zone up here where he can still live. Okay, makes sense? All right, so what we need to do is go back into Figma. Don't manipulate the shape you already made. In fact, I'm gonna duplicate it. And I'm gonna bring it over here. So we have there's a safe version of our initial mask. And what we wanna do is draw the safe area. Okay, let's go. And this needs, well, actually I'm gonna keep it gray for now. All right, let's bring this in. And there's no exact science to this. Sometimes you have to correct the mask. I'm gonna duplicate that and bring this in, and then we'll bring this in too. And actually, I don't think that side matters all that much. We need to get maybe just there to the clean edge. And then the height it's all a little bit relative, in my opinion. I mean, there may even be fucking better ways to do this, but I don't really know them. So I'm gonna copy all of those elements, and let's see, do I have all selected? 1, 2, 3. There's a union selection option, which now it creates like one piece, okay? So let's see, with any luck, this may work. Let's go cutout safe. So this is like our safe zone for our cutout. We're gonna put this on the image wrapper itself is where it should live, I suppose. Let's save our work so we don't lose anything here. All right, let's go upload this. Okay. I didn't want to insert it. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to grab its URL. Just copy it here. Okay. Let's go. How's the chat rocking? Are we staying with me this time?
Yep.
Yeah, Maxime is yelling at you. He says
What's he yelling at me for? What's the problem already?
there is
I
a
thought we were
nice
making good progress. Go ahead.
there's a nice CSS property since 1923 that is called box shadow. That's what he's saying.
Box shadow. What does he want me to put a box shadow on?
And the border, like this, it's like thicker on one side. Probably that's.
The box shadow on the card?
And no, on the
On the cutout.
On the cutout. Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, you see. I don't know if you see my screen, but there's like a purple is inside, and then there's like a border that is thin on the top and then thicker on the bottom.
I can't see your screen.
What?
You're talking about this border right here?
No, you should.
The guy that you, is that yours? No, that's mine. Wait. Yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna bring it back.
Wait, we just had your screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy on the yellow card, for instance, has a purple oval, and the oval itself has a border that top side of the border is thinner than the bottom one.
Yeah.
And so you can do that, and it's usually done with the box shadow.
Yeah, you can't do a box shadow though when you use masks, because it cuts the box shadow off.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so let's go to. But I appreciate it, Maxime. I appreciate it. All right.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Now I forgot what we're doing. All right. So we're putting a safe mask on. So cutout. We're gonna go cutout safe. All right, and we're gonna have a URL to that. And I believe I copied it to the clipboard, and it does look like it is the right URL. Okay. Let's see. Mask image. Let's go cutout safe. Mask size cover. Mask position bottom. Holy smokes, that looks good.
Look at that.
Mask position bottom. Mask. We don't want it to repeat. No repeat. Okay. I mean, the first try is it's decent. It's decent. Okay. What we want to do here is we want to change our card padding to space L. Okay. All right. So we got our man in there. Okay. We need that. So yeah, now we need to handle that border situation. And we're going to do that with another pseudo element that has the exact same mask that's positioned exactly the same and is just offset a little bit. Because if you tried to put a box shadow on this, the mask is essentially cutting that shape out. So nothing can exist on the outside of that shape, that's why they're a real pain in the ass. They're an absolute pain in the ass. Okay, so we are going to go from our cutout parent. Let's do that down here. So root cutout, because now this has pseudo elements that I can stem off of that are not related to the things that we are masking. So the thing that we are masking is the image wrapper. Essentially, the image wrapper and its pseudo element are being masked, which means anything that exists inside the image wrapper is useless to what happens outside of the image wrapper. So the cutout that's up here, which is another div, gives us access to something existing outside of the image wrapper, right? So it's not being clipped, essentially. Okay, so let's go back to the review card, and we've got our cutout down here. Let's go before, and we're gonna go content, and we are going to go width 100%, height 100%. It should essentially be doing exactly what this pseudo element is doing right here. So we can do background, which is going to be red for right now. We're gonna go Z index. We'll fix that in a minute if we need to. Background red, content width. It probably needs to be positioned. Okay, and there it is. All right, let's go up to cutout, position relative. Sweet. It's got to be in the exact same position to have the exact same effect. I think we can just grab this and paste it and cheat. There it is. I think we have the exact same thing happening. You just can't see it because it's like behind what we already had happening. All right, so at this point, we should just be able to shift it. Like, let's just translate it. I'm thinking, or width. We could maybe stem off of the width. There's probably numerous ways to do this. 0, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels. Okay.
Yeah, that looks like it.
I'd probably come up here and do a cutout shadow size or something. Naming things is hard. 5 pixels. Okay. And we'll go cut out shadow size. Sweet. Probably needs to be both values. And now you have a control point where you can just 15, 10, you can kind of just do whatever you want to do. 5, probably good enough, 6, somewhere in there. And then instead of red, obviously we want a cutout shadow color. Okay, so we're gonna come out here, cutout shadow color, and what do we want that to be? Primary dark, all right? You do whatever you want. How about semi-dark? I don't know, whatever. How about ultra dark? Okay, all right, let's save that there. Let's go with, okay, do we want to stack the, okay, let's let people decide, because this is, again, it's like, which one do they want to see more? The stacking of this thing, or creating this stupid little badge that goes inside of here, which I don't think is all that spectacular, and it's not all that difficult. Do they want to see stacking? Do they want to see this
I'd
card?
like to see the stacking, because I'm interested in how you're going to do it, because it's, of course, it's it's transform.
Yeah.
But I want to see it how you build it in terms of, yeah, like in kind of a scalable way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
people in the chat are saying stacking as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say stacking.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do the stacking then. All right. So let's go with review card. So now we have 3 of them. Now, how we would handle the changing of the colors. Usually I handle that with a data attribute. So let me delete these. I would just do like data, let's see, data card color, something like this. And then you can put whatever value you want. And then of course you can bring in dynamic data. So you would have a custom field perhaps on the back end, and maybe even a drop down of the color options that are available to the user. They would select one, they would just pipe that value into here, and then I'm using CSS to change the color. So that's, and then you can actually control foreground and background that way. We won't worry about that right now. We can worry about that later if we have time and people want to see it, but it's probably not.
Kevin, in an ideal situation, would you make this a component?
Not in Bricks, because I wouldn't use components for anything in Bricks right now. It's not safe because of the limitations that they have. But ideally, absolutely. So if you're in an environment, and this is where I kind of am doing this CSS first workflow, and to prove a point that, people overuse a UI and they over require a UI. All I've done is add boxes to a page. I needed a way to get an image in there, which, if I had access to the HTML, I could just easily written that. And then I write some CSS and it just starts to come to life. Where the builder really has to come in is, number one, don't get in my fucking way. That's the problem with so many UIs is get in your way. When you know what you're doing, they can just get in your way constantly. It's just annoying. It's a hassle. We talked about scattered styles. We talked about all these things, right? All these problems. That's number one. And then number two is just do a lot of the heavy lifting for me. Do the looping, do the conditional logic for me, do the carousels and the repeat, that shit I don't want to wade through, do all that stuff for me. And other than that, get out of my way for the most part, right? And, make this stuff simple, make it fast, make it easy, make the workflow as quick as it can possibly be. Okay. So, but yes, to answer your question, this would be a component. Like in Etch, I would make a review card component, and then I would loop it, and then I would use conditional logic on it, and yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's call this, we'll call this review card stack. And essentially what I want to do is do all of this from this parent level now, okay? So all the styling that's happening inside the card is living inside of the card, and then any behavior that is caused by the stack should be placed in the stack. And then I can actually take any cards I want and drag them in and out of the stack, and they should have the exact same effect with maybe some tweaks needed. We don't know. Okay, so we've got 3 cards. I think the best way to do this probably, this is our parent container. Let's display this as a grid. Let's go immediately down to, actually we can keep going with nesting here. So we can select everything in the grid, and we'll go grid column of 1 and grid row of 1. So I can just essentially force everything onto the same column and the same row, and they will just stack on top of each other. Okay, now what I can do is I want to do 2 things that they've done here. One would be 3 things. One would be offset them. So they have different positions inside of the container, slightly different positions. That's what causes this amount of overlap, okay? They also have these angles. So we're gonna have to deal with position, offset. We're gonna have to deal with angling. And then they also have a size difference. If you notice, this back card is much smaller than the top card. And that's all gonna be required anyway to get them to even fit in here. So let's just work through that. I know those 3 things are the control points I'm gonna need, right? So for example, I can have card size, which will default to 1. And then we can have card offset, which would be, you can just put a magic number in there for right now. And then card angle, which again, we can just put a magic number in there for right now, okay? So we'll come down here, and then essentially we want to target number 1, number 2, and number 3. So we would say target anything, inth of type 1, border 5 pixel solid red. You do a quick border check and see if we are selecting what we need to select. Why am I seeing double? First of all, why are we seeing double text? Let's go ahead and refresh.
What?
See if this is a Bricks issue or a Kevin issue. Okay, no, I saw. Do you see it when it loaded? I saw.
It started
Yes.
when you
There's a
applied the
Z-index
red
issue.
border, Kevin.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know why, but I know that there's a Z-index issue because I saw it behind. Okay, let's go. Yeah, take that off. Okay. What was I adding though? Why would the border cause that? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, nth of type 1. Let's go. You know what? I wanted to make, trying to figure out how I can see which card I'm seeing. Let's go with, okay, we'll do that. Border 5 pixel solid red, and see if we can just bring it to the top. Okay, 3. I don't want to elevate the first. Yeah, that makes sense, because the first one is first in the DOM, so it is, the others are going to naturally be on top of them, but we don't want to elevate the first one necessarily. I would rather put the other two behind the first one. So this z-index doesn't need to be here. We can take this, bring it down, bring it down. We're just gonna have 2, and we're gonna have 3. They don't all need the border solid red. We're just gonna have z-index on these. This is gonna be -1. This is gonna be -2. Okay, and now my initial one is on top. That is correct. And we can save there. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to probably start playing with the size. So we're going to go scale of card size. Okay, and then this is going to be, let's try 0.9. Excellent. So now this one is smaller. And then I'm wondering, these could probably be calced. So if we calc, let's just do this. Let's do card size minus 0.1. Okay. Should theoretically work. Minus 0.2. What is it not like? What is it not like? Var card size minus 0.2. What does the error say? Unknown. Oh, yeah, of course. Duh. Okay, scale. There we go. All right. Now, let's shift. Okay. How do we want to handle the offset? Card size, grid row, column 1. We can start offsetting from here. I would think we can just translate them potentially. Let's go translate of card offset. Okay. And then I would translate this one of card offset times 2. Okay. And then what we need to do is go to our review card, right click, and we're going to go with a box shadow of, this is like a custom box shadow. So 0, 0, 0, 5 pixels, black. Okay, or we'll do base ultra dark, which will match the background color. And it looks like it's a bit thicker, so we'll go 10. Okay. So now we can start to see our offset effect happening here. Let's go angles now. Okay, so let's go with back to our stack. Okay, so now we're going to bring in our angle. We're going to rotate. And this is going to be our card angle. And I would go, that's a little aggressive, 5 negative, because I think that's about right. We don't need a border 5 pixel solid red on here anymore, by the way. Okay, save there. All right, let's go with rotate card angle. I think the second one just essentially goes the opposite direction. So times -1. And then the last one, what does the last one do? The last one seems to kind of do the same thing.
Almost like the first, I would say. Like,
almost like the first, but maybe like a divide 2, like a little half-C on the first.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we could go in and inspect their code and figure out the exact angles that they used and all of that. But it's just a demonstration of the effect, essentially. Okay, let's go to, it might help if we had different color backgrounds, which we can kind of cheat on. So we just go backgrounds of, let's see if that, yep. Okay, so let's go Canary yellow. Is that a color? I don't think so. How about just the yellow is going to be like a crayon yellow, which is ugly.
Oh.
Background of green. Okay. Now we got to talk about how to handle, like, UIs that use all these fucking random colors that they're not like brand colors. They're just like randomized colors, right? We can talk about how to do that next, but we should probably pause here. And if anybody has any questions or chat or whatever you guys want to do, and then we can move on to whatever the next thing needs to be.
Yeah, this is a good moment to take a break. I think, Elvis, you have like 15 minutes left or something like that, right?
Yeah. I have questions, but maybe someone else wants to ask.
I don't. I'm still whiplashed, man.
That was nice, Kevin.
There's going to be a lot of freeze framing later to go over this again, because it's impressive as fuck what you just did. And like that's what people are saying in the chat as well. Like, Kevin is a CSS guru, so good. This looks almost finished. Mr. Livestream.
Can I ask?
I'm not seeing really, like, from the chat. I'm not seeing anything. If you guys had any questions that we missed, now is the time to post them. Yeah, and Ruben says, and this is Kevin going slow. Yeah. But unless or until some questions come in here through the chat, Elvis, if you got them, bring them.
Yeah, I'll ask, because I was thinking when I was watching this, how can I make it dynamic? Like how can I make this work if there's 4 as well? And so I was thinking about the attribute and the iteration, like because this is probably a loop, right? So to loop it and then use the index of the item in the loop as a kind of a multiplier.
Yeah, correct.
That was like what I was thinking if I was, because I was also expecting we're going to build this, but then Matty said that to do the grid, so I did the grid, whatever. It's not like I wouldn't be this fast, but that's what I was thinking. But then what tripped me was the fact that they are not all bent in the same direction. So it's not like, like you could say, like, first iterate a little bit, like, I don't know, some degree, and then second one a little bit more, and so on. But what when the second one goes the other direction? So then I was thinking, like, maybe we should like have like, like the one goes left, the other one goes right, then goes left, then goes right, like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, too, you are kind of limited in this stack design of how many, because there's not enough. They have to keep going this way, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't have, you're limited on your horizontal space. So I would argue that you probably can't even stack many more, or you're not going to see them after a while, right? And they'll start to get smaller too, right? So there is a natural limitation. But yeah, like you said, using the loop index, I think it's a good idea to use that as a multiplier. You would, if we had this Sass power, there's ways in Sass to style an infinite number of things, because you can create a function, for example, that iterates over the number. Like there's a lot of options there. So, but we don't have access to Sass and Bricks, and I don't even think Bricks gives you a loop index by itself. Like you'd have to probably do that with a data attribute. So yeah, I mean, we could, if we had hours and hours, we could explore all of those things, which would be interesting.
So everything you just did was pure CSS, right? Like including using an ampersand to put the before inside the declaration.
Correct. That's vanilla CSS now too. Yeah. The nesting.
Okay, because I think I've seen that before somewhere, and I was like, oh, that's probably CSS.
I mean, technically, obviously, dynamic root is not CSS. Well, but everything else is.
Right.
How would it look? I know you prefer this way, but if you would use Bricks UI, is it even possible?
It's not possible. I wouldn't say it's possible in any. I don't know a builder that it's possible in. It's why you have to have access to the code. It's why you have to. And there's things that having access to the HTML is very, very helpful in a lot of ways. But yeah, you have to have and this is not a good CSS authoring experience. It gets it done. It's not enjoyable to use, and it doesn't have any of the helpers that I wish it would have. So yeah, but again, this speaks to this tool is not designed for, it's like a hybrid tool. It's like half designed for beginners, half designed for, people to do professional work in. As you can see, we can get it done. It's not designed to be a great experience for professionals.
And yet it's still miles ahead of the Gutenberg custom CSS.
And yet it's still miles. I mean, you can't even get started on this in Gutenberg, honestly. But then this is the kind of stuff where we demo this and I show, and then they just nobody needs to do. You can do that with a custom block then. Go make a custom block. Oh, it's like, thanks. So now I have to go fucking write it in React and PHP and all this other, in VS Code now. I got to leave my entire workflow. Why? But I just accomplished it here in Bricks. So why? Don't tell me that's what I need to go do. You designed it wrong. Your fucking architecture's broken. If I can't do it all in the same place where I'm working, your architecture's broken. I shouldn't have to leave and go to a different tool. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Nobody wants to do that.
Exactly. Builderius is a React app, but you don't need to know React to use it.
Right.
And so that's they can use that, the developers of Gutenberg. But the fact that for any remotely custom thing, you kind of need to go there.
But what's crazy about that, build a custom block thing is that in Etch, what I just built if I saved and went to the block editor, it would be sitting there in the block editor using core blocks, not even using native blocks. And so there is no semblance of it. The next era of WordPress does not require building custom blocks. It just requires building the site. And then the custom blocks are just built for you as you do that. So that's the other side of it. And that's liberating your data out of it. It's also making a native way for customers to edit content, move a thing around here and there, yada, yada, yada. It syncs back to Etch. So, there's tremendous advantages coming.
Can I ask you something related to Etch and specifically Etch and blocks? So one of the things I hate about Gutenberg is how it's component based. It basically uses components, but wrong, and specifically in static blocks, where if you if you use the block custom, for instance, on a number of pages, and you want to update the HTML, you can't do that. It's not gonna update over. It's gonna happen with the dynamic blocks, but not with the static ones, which are supposed to be the modern proper ones, right? But the dynamic is for us that don't want to learn. So how does it work with Etch? This idea that the component philosophy where you can reshuffle, change, add, remove parts of HTML of a component, and it's going to propagate throughout the site. Since you are kind of sending that to Gutenberg, I wonder what happens there, if you want to change it down the road.
The Gutenberg side of it does not limit anything that you're doing inside of Etch. It just mirrors what you're doing inside of Etch, essentially. If you created a card component, it would be a single. So obviously we can look at the structure here: review card, cutout, image wrapper, image, quote. Okay. And just imagine that this is Etch, right? Now I go back in and imagine that I'm able to actually make this a component. So I can save this. I go back into Gutenberg, and this is all you will see right here. And you can't open it and you can't do things inside of it. However, there will be props, obviously. There's props for the image, there's props for the content, there's props for utility classes. Those will be exposed in Gutenberg as just inputs. So you can add the card component in Gutenberg, you can fill out the props, and you wouldn't loop it there because Gutenberg doesn't have a functional loop. But obviously it's already being looped in Etch for you. It's really, you wouldn't use this kind of card thing by itself, honestly. That would all be done in Etch by the professional who's building the loops and the logic and stuff like that. But a button component, for example, obviously the user would want to use a button component, and that's exactly how it would work. You can create props for the utility classes. Actually, you wouldn't even create a prop for utility classes because the customer doesn't even know what the hell those are. So you would create a prop that's essentially a style dropdown that's like, do you want a outline button? Do you want, well, actually, outline, that's a good example, is a Boolean prop. And so you would just add a toggle switch that's essentially is like has icon or doesn't have icon. So the customer can add a button, and if they wanted to have an icon, they just flip the switch, which will be exposed in Gutenberg, and say, yes, I want it to have an icon, and then the icon will appear. And then there will be a prop for what icon do they want. Do they want the default icon, or they want to choose their own icon? They can do whatever. And so you are able to build all of the complex logic of the component inside of Etch, and then that you decide what is exposed to the user in Gutenberg for using that component properly. And we have, the other thing I should say too, is that the components are not snapshot-based components. Like we had I did a long write-up on this in a video. Like anybody that's familiar with Figma, you create a button in Figma, and then you, like here, actually, it's good to visualize. So I'll just go here and I'll say my button, and then I make this a component, which I hate all their new UI stuff that they've done. Let's go to, I don't even remember how to add a variant in their new shit. What does this button do? Actions.
It's right on the right where it says my button, and you see, then right, there should be variant is no above. Yeah,
there we go. Okay,
it's very hidden.
Yeah, so you end up with like, imagine you want like a primary and then a primary light and a primary dark and then a primary light outline, a primary dark. You end up with like all these different like snapshots of a component that then have to kind of be in a certain way managed separately. We're not doing that. So you have one master component called a button. And then you put things, let's use the icon example of whether the button's gonna have an icon or not. You put an icon in the button, you create a prop called has icon, which is a Boolean switch, and then you simply use a logic block like if, and we're exposing the conditions like if, else, etc. as blocks, like as elements you can add, like you can add an if element, you can add an else element, whatever, and you can put things inside of them. And this way the logic exists separately from the element, which means you can drag elements inside and out of logic rather than assigning logic to an element, which is the way like Bricks assigns conditional logic to an element. There's no container of logic. There's just assignments of logic, which sucks because if you assign your logic to the wrong place, you have to unassign it and then go reassign it somewhere else. If you have a logic box, you can just put things in the box or not put things in the box. So that's a lot more flexible. It's a lot more helpful. But you would put the icon. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that's a little bit like the template element that we have. Mm-hmm. This is our kind of element that has, so you saw me use it in collection. It's not only in collection, it's used in like pro elements that you are coming as well. So for instance, if you want to do a model or something and not load anything in it because it's in the shadow DOM until you do something or JavaScript does something and so on. So it's basically kind of like that. It's an element that has its own kind of space for logic, and you can control what happens in it. So for instance, basically it's a web component use.
Yeah, it's a correct. It's a, let's just call it Elvis. Let's call it a correct component. Okay. Yeah. So and everything that I just mentioned is working right now in Etch. It's not like this is our future hopes and dreams and wishes. It's like I could do that right now. So we have the logic engine, we have the component architecture. I did it on the video last week. I'm going to do it again this week because we now have the nice, simple little toggle prop, which makes life a lot easier. But yeah, it's already happening, so that's nice.
Just to say, any moment now, I'm gonna say bye because it's 7 p.m.
Yeah, you're
here,
at your hard stop, right?
Elvis, thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Elvis. I liked watching the Builderius workflow.
Yeah, where can people find out more? Obviously, Elvis. I mean, some people probably have heard of Builderius and everything you got going on, but let the people know where they can come check out more of your stuff.
Sure. We're on social media, so you can track us on, like, we have a Twitter account, we have a page on Facebook. I'm gonna so there's a Facebook Facebook/Builderius, and there's also a group. We have quite some members, a couple of thousand, I don't know.
I think I'm not in it yet.
Sorry, what?
I think I'm not in the Builderius group yet.
You should join.
I think I should.
Yeah. So you can get us there. If you have like direct questions relating to something you're trying, you can always email us. The website is Builderius.io.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna
if you
share
want to
that.
know
Hang
about
on.
beta, it's just add beta after. Website is
Yeah.
going to be remade quite soon because that's all old stuff. We just didn't have time. We prioritized the product. So yeah, you click on the get it now, and it's going to open the beta page. You can download it from the WP repo, like any other plugin. So that's going to take you to the repo. It's right there. We're pushing updates quite, like we have 3 in a week. So we're getting a lot of feedback and feature requests and bug reports. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of updates happening right now. So yeah, we really need like people to like tell us what doesn't work. and so it grows fast. So yeah, that's where you can find us. We are quite active also in dynamic WordPress group. I moderate that group, and Vitaly is also there. So any of these places you can find us. And there's a YouTube channel where we publish the tutorials and other videos related to those areas as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So then I would say, first of all, thanks again. We got some really positive feedback here in the crowd as well. People were really happy with both builds, and said that there's a lot of value in here. Again, jack those prices up. I think you can totally do it.
Yes, Elvis, bring them up. Bring them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. It's in the works. Yeah, we will with the 1.0 free, like the state stable one. When it comes out, the new website comes out with much more detail about everything, our roadmap, our plans, and the prices as well. So as we progress, when we know the date exactly, we're going to announce it. So far, we don't. Yeah, it's a moving target. Sometimes you think something is small and then something big comes up, or you just have an idea. That's the worst. And then it just prolongs because you want to do this because it's great. So anyways, but it should be, our plan is around third quarter to go out with everything we want to have in the free 1.0. From then on, we're also going to know, because we're also working on the Pro, when the Pro comes out. Yeah, that's the plan.
Awesome. So we got here, Marcel is saying, hopefully Matt will not take over Builderius sometime. Manya says, higher prices and a better microphone, please. So
Yeah, go buy Builderius so Elvis can buy a Pro mic.
Yes.
yeah, exactly. And Marcel is asking, anyone else wondering what's going through Brandon's mind? He just sits there super relaxed. Has he said something yet?
What? I've been talking. Also, I'm not Brandon.
Yeah. Let's go, Brandon.
Oh man, no.
All right. So we can. I mean, do we leave or do we hang around a little bit longer? Kevin, where are you thinking?
I'm fine.
Are we done?
I'm good to go.
Are we done here?
I'm built for marathons, my boy.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I'd still like to have a quick look at how you would approach the cards that Elvis built.
Yeah, sure.
Just
Yeah,
a
let's,
5-minute thing. Like,
Yeah. Oh.
no
yeah,
talking,
5
just
minutes.
running through the whole thing in 5
5
minutes.
minutes,
And then we
okay.
play it at 0.25 speed afterwards.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to say bye to everyone.
Yes.
I'm getting messages now.
All the
Enjoy
best,
and
man.
watch the rest later. It was really nice. Thank you, everyone. It was
Thank
like
you,
very, very
Elvis.
crowded.
Thanks
It's
for
been
coming,
fun.
Elvis.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Appreciate you, brother.
See you soon.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right,
I was
so
still
I'm
trying
gonna
to catch up on
remove.
the chat.
Oh, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what people have been saying.
My friend who's watching just texted
What's the
me.
difference
Let's go,
between core
Brandon.
blocks and native blocks? Derek, core blocks and native blocks. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that we use Gutenberg's. They're the same thing. We use Gutenberg's native blocks. So no proprietary blocks.
To get those cards that you stack to move and like be interactive, obviously JavaScript for that.
Yeah, you had to do this.
We can't see. You want to share
see.
again?
Hold on. Let me. I wish we could see
Share your screen, Kevin.
you guys and like I can't see the chat once I start sharing or you guys. So,
Right.
you're talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just JavaScript. Essentially, the hard part of this is done. Other than if, like I said earlier, if you wanted to make this dynamic, I would actually just drop in a frames dynamic star rating element because it's already built for you, and it uses data attributes. However, in the component functionality with proper conditional logic, you would have maybe a data attribute or something that is the star rating, and then it would, instead of using CSS to hide or show stars, it would use the if conditions to just whether the star is rendered or not. So that would potentially be better than the CSS method, which renders all of them and then just hides the ones that you're not supposed to see. Okay, so you guys want to see this grid right here?
Let's go.
What are
do it.
these things? These are these courses. Yeah, our courses are the ultimate brain food. Okay, so we'll just go. What I would do is I would start in the back end, which I mean, let's just all imagine for a moment. Okay, what if we could? Like, I'm ready to loop through this. I'm ready to create a grid with these courses. What if we could create the custom post type right here, right now? What if we could add custom fields to that custom post type right here, right now, and then just loop it right here, right now? Well, we can't do that because era 4 of WordPress is not here yet. So we
Talking
have
about
to go
some fantasy shit, Kevin.
Man, we have to go back here. All right, we got to go to this place back here, this magic area.
But I think the ACF source code is available. Like you might just take it.
Yeah, yeah. HCF is coming.
Yeah.
ECF. All right, let's
imagine?
go. Courses. Do we need hierarchical? Probably not. Let's go URLs. Front URL prefix gone. Save.
Turn that
okay.
editor off.
We got some courses. Oh, you want me to turn the editor off?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't work.
more of
I just leave it.
More of a force of habit.
All right, field groups. So let's just take a quick look-see. We're going to need this, which I would call like a short description. Okay, that's probably all we need. We just need one field group. So let's just call this courses and text, and we'll call this short description. I'll do course short description. Okay. And let's save there. We need to assign that to our courses. Okay, I go to my courses. I mean, nobody really wants to see us put all these in. React query, React router, modern JavaScript, React. How about we do this? Oh, you know what they did? They made the card clickable, which is going to make it difficult to grab the actual content. Okay, how about we lorem ipsum this website ipsum. I can't use my ipsum expander because it doesn't work in the magic area. Let's go back here. All right, let's do this. Okay, that should work for now. How about we steal these? Save image as. Save image as. We'll just do 4. How about that? Save image as. Save image as. Okay. Let's go in. We're just going to use featured image for this. Let's go to course logos. Okay. Bring this in. Where's my finder? Home finder. Okay. Bang, bang, bang. All right. I think it's that one. Let's go ahead and publish. Let's go to add new. All right. It's query React modern. Okay. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay. And we'll say this is just placeholder text 2. We have something unique to look at. Add new course. React 3 course featured image set publish add new last one. What was the last one? Modern JavaScript. Let's go Gutenberg. Let's go modern JavaScript 4 set featured image publish. Okay. Painful to do there, but it's how it's got to be done these days. All right, let's go to our front end, which is, did I close our front end? This is the problem with magic area. You just get fucking lost. You're trying to, you gotta find your way back.
Need a map.
Golly. Okay, section. What is this? So let's just copy this. Copy. Okay. Throw that in for good measure. All right, let's go with a, how about an intro? Intro, heading, text. Text. Yeah, that's all we need. Okay. Feed. Boom. One of these.
Is that an extension for Brave, or is that just default?
It's called Pace. It's for Mac.
Oh.
Okay. Has an extra thing in it. We'll go intro centered, which is going to do that. Probably safest to do that also. Probably come down here and reverse it. This is where, you know, a UI, like UIs are they do speed things up. They just come at a tremendous cost of your styles get spread out everywhere. Also something that won't happen in Etch. Because when you go to the CSS, it will all be there for you. So you can do it either way. So you can take advantage of the speed of inputs without the downside of inputs. Okay, let's add another container. That's going to be, we're going to add 2 more containers. One's going to be our grid. One's going to be this other text element down here, which is supposed to say, I don't know which one it was. Okay, so let's go our grid. Let's go block. All right.
Just for some clarification, when you say that the CSS would all be there in Etch, is that because it's syncing with the inputs?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's actually what everybody's going to see in today's update. When I do my video later today, they're going to see it's instant syncing both ways. Courses
Breaking news.
Breaking news. It's actually on the changelog already published, so people can read it too. All right, so this is our courses grid. This is our courses card. Our card structure is going to be heading, text, link, icon. Heading, text, link, icon. So we'll go heading, text, link, icon. Okay, and then we'll come in here and essentially SVG. Actually, I don't think we can do icon. We have to do an image because you can't do dynamic data there. Okay, bring that in and dynamic data this. I'll do that once I loop it. That'll be fine. Okay, we are down here. I was thinking about my head covering stuff up for it, and then I just remembered when it's not there. So we don't have that problem.
We got you.
Okay. All right, we want that to be a paragraph. We want that to be linking to just # for right now. We need to auto BIM this. So let's auto BIM, course card heading, text. How about description? That might be better. Let's go link and image. Okay, apply, sweet. Okay, now we're safe to duplicate for now. I just do things static and then we'll come back and loop. All right, so we'll go course card and we'll just start writing. So we'll go padding. This is a card, so we should use the card framework. Card padding, let's go with background is card, I think it's light card background. I usually use auto styling, but let's go. Actually, this would be potentially dark card background. We're going to hijack them anyway for the colors, so it doesn't really matter. Border radius of radius, and yeah, should be good for now. Let's go to the courses grid. Let's go display of grid. I'm actually about to put in a recipe in automatic CSS because you can do this, but that's actually not helpful at all. I need this and I need that to happen, and doing that over and over and over again is annoying. So I'm just going to throw in a little recipe that just expands out to this. It's going to save some time. I also have some little ones. I don't think, let's see, I don't think, oh, it's flex, is it like flex column? Like there's little shortcuts. Gotta start memorizing them, but it'll expand out. I'm getting expansions going to just make CSS like that much faster. We want to display this as a grid though. Grid, template, columns. Let's go grid 3. Or is there 4? There's 4, right? Grid 4. You can also, why don't we do this? Auto grid. And let's go into, we already have 4 for this. Okay. Let's see if we get a 4th one in there. Okay, perfect. Let's go with, what's this heading? This heading needs to be in H3. This heading needs to be in H2. Yeah, okay, we're good there. Good there. Okay, perfect. Let's go bring in dynamic data. I think we're ready to loop this thing. Let's save. Let's go to query loop. Bang, query. The other thing I should say on H2, we are not going this route with the query loop. The same problem that happens with conditional logic when you assign it to an element exists with a loop when you assign a loop to an element. I used to think this was really good. And to give context, it's because the Oxygen way, Oxygen 4 actually did it correctly, where they give you a loop container, but they did it incorrectly because they forced a DOM output. They forced a div to be output on the front end. Also a div that you weren't able to select, which violates the #1 rule of a visual development environment, which is don't create boxes the user doesn't have access to. And then you also could not change the tag. So for example, if you needed to loop with a UL and LI items, you could not because it would force you to have a div as the child of the UL. So it's broken like many things.
Can we talk about that for a second though?
Yeah,
real quick.
Yeah.
Because that and the if thing, like the elements that you were talking about, are they going to be reusable? Can you like?
Correct.
Okay.
So loops already in Etch you can save loop structures. You get access to the PHP for them. There's going to be a UI for easily creating them, but you can also just write the PHP for it. You can save it to essentially any loop, like custom loop preset is what you can make. And because it's a container, you can drag anything into and out of a loop. You don't have the problem of, I looped the wrong thing, so I have to undo that loop, and then I have to go over here and I have to re-loop the thing. It's just a blank container, and it's a container that has 0 output on the front end. So if you inspect, if I create this grid and I loop through these cards, I go to the front end and look at the DOM, there is no inkling, like it's as clean as it can possibly get. There's no evidence that is being looped. The same thing is with components. There is no evidence that thing is a component. And that's all handled on the back end. Okay, so let's go. What am I doing? Okay, so we've got to loop this thing, course card. Okay, so we have our loop, and we're going to ask it to loop courses. We're going to say order by date's fine, order descending, whatever. How about we do 8? So this is even. You also can now in automatic CSS, which is very nice, is you can come to layout, auto grid, and you can force even columns, which means when this stacks, it will retain an even number of items. So it's not going to stack to an orphan. It's going to skip the odd numbers, which would obviously result in an orphan. So that's something that's, I think that was like a few releases ago, if people don't know about that yet. Okay, let's put in the dynamic data. Let's go with post title. Let's go here with the short description. Let's go with the link. URL is going to be our post URL. Yeah. And let's go with our icon. This is just going to be our featured image. Okay, pull that in. Sweet. We'll just take this image right here. Let's go CSS. Again, got to retrain yourself. Like I would try to go do this from the parent level. Instead of, see, I was about to write CSS at this image level, and then again, you're gonna get very disjointed with where your styles are existing and coming from. So if I do this, which also these root selectors work very well with BIM, so I can just reference the actual thing. So we'll say root image.
It's funny because that's really something I learned in practice. Like when I started using Bricks, I was like, oh fuck, I can do everything with all the CSS stuff I can do with controls.
Yeah.
And then like now I'm like 3 years in and I'm doing what you're doing. I'm just writing all these CSS at the parent level.
Yep, exactly.
Because you never find it again later.
Font size text S on here. Sweet. Okay. So what we need to do now is I guess we can try to handle the colors real quick. I mean, I made the grid. We're looping. We're at where we need to be from like a base level standpoint. Probably what I would do at this point is for all those random colors is I would just come create them, like create tokens for them. So you would be like accent 1, let's say is blue, accent 2 is green, accent 3 is red, accent 4, we're just gonna do 4 for now, orange. Okay, let's save. So now we have globalized like quick accent colors. And you could obviously take the time to just go in here and actually reference the colors. But ain't nobody got time for that. So let's go ahead. We already saved that. That's good. Let's save the page. And let's think about this from a custom field perspective. Let's take a trip back to our magic area for a moment. Let's go to field groups, courses. Okay. I'm thinking we could do a drop down maybe. Let's do a select element, choices, accent 1, accent 2, accent 3, accent 4. Obviously these are, you can name them whatever you want. It's just kind of a demonstration of what needs to happen. So we will say accent color. How about we do coarse accent color? Cool, perfect. Default value. Should it have a default? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter. We can't select multiple. We don't want to select multiple. Okay, let's save. Let's go and see if our things have an option. There we go. So here's your accent, accent 3, accent 4. We just now need to see if we can output that as a data attribute, right? So let's go, let's flip back and forth because that's super fun. I love going to the admin and then to the builder and then to the admin and to the builder. It's just fantastic. This is my favorite way to spend time.
Keeps you on your toes.
It does. It does. Keeps your brain engaged and active. Keeps you young. Keeps you very young. None of us are gonna have the Alzheimer's. Okay, so we're gonna go to attributes, data, card, color, I guess. Okay, and let's just bring in coarse accent color. And now what we're gonna do. Always, trust but verify. Trust but verify is a good approach to this. You trust that it did what you wanted it to do, but you need to verify. So we go to the front end and now we can see here's data, card, color is accent number 1. Another terrible thing, or as Charles Barkley says, another terrible thing is you go to, notice that I did that drop down for accent color after the posts were created in the posts type, right? So none of them have that. If you notice, they were all blank. Not all of them, but the first one was good. Where did the front end go? This is why we can't tolerate the magic areas. This is terrible. Okay, so I inspect this. See how these are blank? Because these posts are not aware that custom field exists now. So let's get out of mobile mode. We don't need to be in there. Let's go find our magic area again. Okay, ACF.
You're saying groups. you set up the field, but you didn't actually select one in each one of the posts.
Well, yes, you can't without going. So what you have to do is, because the CMS that we're working with is not smart enough to realize that, okay, if that is a default value for a new post, like if I created a new course, it would have that accent 1 by default, right? But because I haven't done these, and we don't even know which ones they are, because I don't even know what order it was looping them in. You just have to open them all and save them. just so that it can have that value.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, let's see if I missed any. So let's go.
And of course, you can't do the quick edit on those because you would need another plugin for that.
Yeah. Well, why would you need a modern CMS to do this when you can have WordPress? Let's go to inspect. Okay, see now we all have accent 1. Okay, now what we ideally want to do, so quick edit doesn't give you access, like Brendan was saying, to the custom field that you created. So you literally have to go inside of the post. Now you could add a plugin to expose the custom field over here in the table. But that's another, you got to get your wallet out for that. And, it's another few steps of the process. Okay, let's go to this one. Let's go to accent 4. I mean, this workflow is just, I just see my money being lit on fire as I do this. Okay, let's go back to, we don't need to be in pages. Okay, so now let's, again, trust but verify. Let's just go, we should see like 1, 2, 3. Okay, good, it's even in order, look at that. All right, let's go back to, where do we need to be? We probably need to be in the builder now. We could actually do this from the front end if we're gonna do this in ACSS, but I guess we'll just try to keep this inside of course card. Okay, so we want these styles to be, we could do this at the root, right? So when the root has the data attribute of data card, I think it was data card color. Is that correct? Do we remember?
I don't know, I have Alzheimer's.
Accent 1. How about we just border 5 pixel solid red? Okay.
What's the I do?
That makes it case insensitive so that it doesn't care if it's capitalized or anything like that. Data card color equals accent 1. Data card color equals accent 1. Data card color equals accent 1. UI save, refresh. Okay. Let's see where we're going to need to debug here. Course card. Because theoretically what I did should be working. You can take the I away just in, that's not the problem. Root data card color equals accent 1 I border. Let's just see, let's verify that the CSS is actually there. Oh, okay, thanks Bricks. Fucking. So the preview is not working, but it is working. It is working on the front end. Okay. I thought they fixed this bug that you can't see data attribute styles in the builder. That's not good. Let's see what we can do. Can we cheat? Can we go here? Course. Well, let's just paste. I think I have it on my clipboard. We just have to change this. Course card data. It does not. I think it does not load the data attribute in the canvas or something. It's been a problem for a while. I thought it was fixed. Okay, we'll just have to check the front end over and over again because that's super fun.
That's a good workflow.
Yeah, so dark card background is, we're just gonna hijack that variable that we're already using. And then I believe I made a color called accent 1, right? Bang, okay? And then you just come in here. And so if it's accent 2, we're gonna have accent 2. If it's accent, why am I getting a preview now? What the fuck's going on? 3, it's 3, it just decides when it wants to preview or not preview. I bet it's not doing the source item. I bet that's the problem. 4 and 4. Shazam. Okay, and so now we've built a selector on the back end for the client to just, okay, what accent color is this card going to have? Of course, there's ways you can just randomize the accent color. The thing I like about this method is that just like I hijacked this variable, I can still come in and do anything I want to any other aspect of the card. Like you can change its color, see, to red. So if I realize that, when accent 2's background, and actually you would probably want to map this, where you would say like, I would do something like accent 2 BG, 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 and then I would come in here and say accent 1 FG. So this is a background color and a foreground color. And now you're mapping the relationship between these two so that you can make sure, like this would be like dark blue or something. I don't know the actual CSS names, but you get the point. Like you could have a lighter color and a darker color. And now you're mapping the background relationship to the foreground relationship. And then you stick that inside of your CSS right here. And I think we have like card text color or something, dark card text color. You could hijack that if you were using that. There's a lot of ways to do it. I don't know. I think that primarily answers the question you guys were wondering.
I think some people, maybe not in this exact instance, but because these are posts, they would probably have. I could see an instance where in each one of these brands they have like a brand color, and they want the card background to be the brand color, or like some level of that. So they would go to the post, they would go to the field group, they'd add maybe a color field type, color picker or something. Then they would select that in there, so them or their client potentially could change that in the admin, and then you'd put that on the front end, and it would kind of change your attribute setup a little, right? Because then you'd have a different field. And I think in the background color of bricks, you could dynamically do that.
Yeah, it's like what I would do is if we're doing the brand concept, it would be data brand equals Nike. Okay. And then when data brand equals Nike, I would define the colors. Actually, the way I would do this globally is I would do that in ACSS. So I would come into here where this exists, and instead of root, what you're doing is you're saying data brand equals Nike with your I right here, and I'm assigning. And these now I just use like a primary or an accent or whatever I want to do. Or I can do backgrounds and foregrounds. Like you just have to figure out how this is supposed to be set up to work with a design you're trying to mimic. But I'm essentially assigning colors to Nike. And then anything that I give to Nike, and I would probably do like probably a primary color, okay? What's Nike's? I don't know. And then you would do like an accent color for Nike. Like this, and then you would do whatever else you need, but you're assigning these within the context of data brand equals Nike, which means if I applied data brand equals Nike to a button, it would inherit these colors and it would become a Nike button. And this is how you map colors to actual brands in that context.
Gotcha. But you're doing it this way. I mean, like as far as scaling this way, though, you would have to do this every single time you add a new brand.
Correct. Yes. You don't have. Yeah. Exactly. But it's essentially you have it set up. You copy one brand, you paste it, and then you change the values.
I gotcha.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Okay. So Harun has a question. He's asking, why not set up the select field in ACF with values like accent one pipe -- accent one and so on, and then the builder use the dynamic value of that ACF field as the background color?
Yeah. There's a bunch of different tweaks that you're free to do. I have to pick a lane and demonstrate it. I can't demonstrate every lane,
I feel like this way is definitely best when the accent colors are not specific to the actual posts. Because, like, in this case, like, again, if we had brands there instead, like shit that we knew and had, like, brand colors, I think Derek asked me about this one time. I'd probably want, and I think what Shadulos kind of said there is kind of along the same lines is, if you have brands, you'd probably there's probably an easier way to set them at one time in the back end, and then you can utilize that color in multiple places. I'm not sure if there's shortcomings there, but what you showed here, Kevin, obviously is is probably the best way to do it when you're like, there's no association between the colors that we're trying to use and the actual brands, it seems like, because you might want to do it different ways or reorder things or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, you would want two layers here where you have data brand Nike where you assign a bunch of Nike-ish colors, right? And then in the card itself, you're using locally scoped, like dark card background and this. And so you're deciding, okay, when it's a Nike card, because I can also come down and do this. So when everything is frameworked, parts start to work together. So the dark card background of a Nike card is, and I could say primary here, right? And it's going to use that primary value, Nike's, but I get to decide where these colors are being used and in what context when the brand is Nike. So you have a lot of control over exactly how you want things to behave.
Coolio.
You can do a bunch of different mappings, essentially.
That's good stuff.
Dope.
All right. Anything in the chat? Are we rocking and rolling?
Nothing really that I didn't.
Are
Sorry?
they still
Oh,
here?
they're here.
Okay.
They said,
here
yeah,
in
it's more like
droves.
77 people here.
Oh, sweet. Okay. All right.
Anything else you guys want to see in the chat? Want to
Yeah.
wrap it up? What do we want to
Anything
do?
else?
Let us know. Let us know. Drop a like for Maddie. Maybe a sub if you haven't already.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe more. We're definitely going to have Kevin back when Etch is ready to be
Won't be too long.
unveiled.
Indeed. And I think we can make an announcement, can't we?
We could make an announcement.
Mark is pregnant.
Oh my god.
What? Oh my God. Not yet, dude. Come on, just take that easy with that shit, man.
We got another episode coming up very soon, actually. So it's on Monday, and it's gonna be at you guys have daylight savings on Sunday, right? So it's gonna be 2 p.m. EST and 7 p.m. Mat time. So it's gonna be 7 p.m. CET, and our guests are actually in the chat right now. It's gonna be Udoro Kraka, and it's going to be Ruben. I think his name is Ruben. And they're going to show breakdance and Oxygen 6. So this is going to be interesting.
Aren't they the same builder, basically? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty much. Yeah. I think it's,
Does he mean
there's
Builderius
some
Pro?
Webflow
Is that
in
what
there.
he's going to show? Builderius Pro? Is that the one?
Oh no. There was just a stream recently. It was
Or not
really,
Builderius Pro, fucking Breakdance Pro. It's Breakdance Pro. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
really nice stream recently. Somebody said a lot of good things about Oxygen, the new one. Yeah. So,
Who was that?
but I can't remember. Something with a
Yeah.
G around it or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
So
Here's
fun.
Andrea in the chat says Etch is ready. So, okay.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Edge is actually done. Yeah. Marcel is saying it as well. Yeah. Maddie Eastwood, I want to see Edge UI before you go. Well, it's not up to me.
Join the wait list.
You could.
Join the
You
wait
could
list.
have. You could have bought in.
Yeah. Depends on how much that
let's
super chat is that comes in. You know what I'm saying? You do a little super chat action.
Don't ask Ruben. It'll be 60
Yeah.
pesos, Colombian
Yeah.
pesos.
Be able to buy a stick of gum.
Kevin, are there dates on the next round of release or the next buy-in for Etch?
There's not a fixed date, but end of March. I'm hoping to put a fixed date on it as we get closer to that. But yeah, end of March. It could be any time at the end of March. We could stretch out the entire, what is it, 31? We have 30 days or 31 days here.
31.
31.
Yeah. Could stretch all that out. I don't know yet. We got a lot to do before that date, so we'll see.
Well, gentlemen. This has been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
Thanks to all the
going-
viewers for showing up and giving
Yes,
strong
indeed.
viewership.
Oh yeah, Kevin. I don't know if anybody needs to hear this because they probably already know. But where can they find you? Where do you want to direct people?
Vaporware.com is a good
Jesus
place to
Is that a real website? Or is that going to
probably,
take some?
probably. Yeah, Geary.co. That has everything.
You should get a vaporware domain, like
WP
.co or something.
Vaporware.
Just redirect
No,
it.
you need to
Yeah,
make
just
it
redirect
WordPress vaporware, if anything.
That's right.
Needs to have
hilarious.
WordPress in the name.
Sweet.
Cool.
Well, we appreciate it, and thank you to Elvis, who's no longer here, for being with us today.
He's
Great
left the
stream.
building.
He has left the building. It's true.
But he just dropped the video, says Bob. Hang on, where's Bob here? Builderius just released another YouTube video. Man, he's fast. So, yeah. Dude's on fire. Awesome.
Nice. Sweet.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
End broadcast. See you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks,
See ya.
everyone.
Peace.